Alright, let's dive into a story that's got layers, politics, leaks, and a whole lot of intrigue. So, Joe Kent, a former counterterrorism official, is under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. But here's where it gets juicy: this isn't just about leaks. It's about timing, motivations, and a web of connections that raises more questions than answers. First off, what makes this really interesting is the timing of Kent's resignation. He steps down, blaming Israel for misleading President Trump into the Iran war, and suddenly, we're hit with news of an FBI investigation that's been ongoing for months. Personally, I think the timing here is no coincidence. It feels like a strategic move, either to deflect attention from the investigation or to position himself as a whistleblower. But which is it? That's the million-dollar question. In my opinion, the allegations of leaking to Tucker Carlson and another conservative podcaster add a whole new dimension to this story. Carlson, who's no stranger to controversy, immediately jumps to Kent's defense, framing him as a victim of retaliation. But here's the thing: if Kent was indeed leaking classified intel, especially related to Israel and Iran, that's a serious breach of trust. What many people don't realize is that leaks like these can have massive geopolitical consequences. It's not just about breaking the rules, it's about potentially endangering lives and destabilizing international relations. One detail I find fascinating is Kent's history with the FBI. Last year, he tried to access investigative records into the murder of Charlie Kirk, a conservative activist. The FBI shut him down, and now we're hearing claims that Kent had nutty ideas about foreign involvement. If you take a step back and think about it, this pattern of behavior suggests someone who's either deeply committed to uncovering the truth or someone who's willing to push boundaries, maybe even cross lines, to make a point. The line between whistleblower and leaker is blurrier than people think. What this really suggests is that Kent's case is about more than just leaks. It's about the intersection of politics, national security, and personal agendas. From my perspective, the fact that he wasn't fired immediately despite being under investigation raises serious questions about how the administration handled this. Was he protected? Or was he left in place to gather more evidence? Either way, it's a messy situation that reflects broader issues within the system. This raises a deeper question: how often do we see officials like Kent operating in these gray areas? And what does it say about the culture of accountability, or lack thereof, in these high-stakes roles? Personally, I think this story is a symptom of a bigger problem: the politicization of national security. When leaks become tools in ideological battles, everyone loses, especially the public. So, where does this leave us? Kent's interview with Carlson feels like a calculated move to control the narrative, but the investigation will ultimately determine whether he's a hero or a liability. What makes this really interesting is how it connects to broader trends: the rise of partisan media, the erosion of trust in institutions, and the increasing risks of classified information being weaponized. It's a cautionary tale, and one that's far from over. In the end, I'm left wondering, what's the real cost of these leaks? And how do we balance transparency with security in an era where lines are constantly being redrawn? Let me know what you think in the comments. This is a story that's got me thinking, and I'd love to hear your take.